very quickly. When you get in the game, you'll be able to walk using W, A, S, and D. Keep in mind there is no run or jump button. Your character will move faster, and you could tell from the kilometers an hour right here under your information bar where your stamina is. Certain roads you'll be able to move faster on, and if you unequip all your armor, your character could definitely move faster. To chop down a tree or use items in the game, we have to double click it in our inventory. It's important to remember to use the hatchet. We don't put it on the character screen. We just double click it or we activate it. Once the item's activated and we want to interact with the server, we left click on the tile that the tree is actually on. We can also right click on it and it also shows us there. But for tutorial's sake, we'll left click on it. Anything we select with left click will show up here. You could then click cut. Once the tree falls, we'll be able to see the felled tree. You can go up to it and chop it up. We could then pick up the items either by, and I'll show you. We could right click it, hit open, hit the plus sign, and then we could take the items into our inventory. Once it's in our inventory, we can craft basic things, such as, for example, I could take a log, I could take a saw, and it shows me all the different things that I can actually make on the right. I could change it up, and it will show me different items that I could make. Remember, from tutorial 2, you can always check the toggle crafting recipes. Another thing that's good to remember is that you can actually find food down here. If you left click on the grass tile, you can botanize and forge. If your character forges, there's a good chance that you can find items in the actual grass. Pumpkins are actually wonderful, especially wonderful to eat. It's important to remember that food, when we're going to eat it, it's better to eat it while it's actually hot. And we could do that by making a campfire. You may notice that certain items could be smashed together to add the total weight. You can see that each one of these kindles in our actual inventory is its own separate weight. I could drag it up here to crafting box and it shows 3 and I can hit combine. Once that's done, I can grab my flint and steel and I can make a campfire. I could pack the dirt under the tile so it's a little bit easier to see. And then I can right click the campfire, hit open, and put the pumpkin in. With time it's going to warm up. When the food is hot, it's better to eat it that way. You can also put fuel into the fire by adding a log. If that takes too long, you can also double click the log and right click and hit burn for the fire. In most cases, people feel confused on terms of what to do when they first start off. You want to try to get a cart. You want to try to get some type of metal. In order for you to start mining, you have to find rock tile. Luckily, we're not too far away from one. When we find rock, we'll be able to mine by double clicking our pickaxe and then clicking and selecting on the rock tile. Rock tile will look as such. It's going to be gray. During the winter, it's a little bit harder to see. Let's go ahead and go up to the rock tile. Now this is an important part of the gameplay because this is how you get ore. And there's 2 ways that you could collect iron in the game. You can left click on the rock tile and you can hit rummage. If it says in the event log that the area looks to be picked clean, you just move on to a different rock tile. You could come back within a few hours and you could check again. So let's go ahead and check to see if we could find something. Look like the area's been picked clean. Nope, There we go. So my character has found something, and it's going to be placed into my inventory once the blue bar goes up. My character found flint. Most times you could find rock shards, and you could find rock iron. Rock iron's what's needed to melt in campfires to get iron lumps to make items. Another way to find iron is to prospect. With your pickaxe activated, you could left click on a rock tile and hit prospect. Read the event log. If it says that there's iron nearby within 3 tiles in each direction, you may actually have a chance to find iron if you dig correctly. And if you do, it's much more efficient and much more beneficial to get iron veins than to look for little pieces of rock iron on a rock tile. But let's go ahead and assume that there's some iron under this rock. Once we double click our pickaxe, we could then left click on the tile, and it shows us tunnel. Let's go ahead and begin tunneling. There we go. Luckily for us, we found a cave entrance that already existed. So this is how we make our tunnel. Once we're in, we'll be able to mine and do all the things that we want just by clicking on the wall and hit mining. We can go up, down, left, right, all type of things. Alrighty. Once we get iron, we're able to make our cart. Water, you could drink water from the oceans. There's salt water. So far it doesn't have an actual effect. But if you right click on anything with water, you can actually drink it and get your water bar up. But in terms of gameplay, pretty much you want to try to make a house. And to make a house is very simple. Once you have flat land, and you can find out whether or not something's flat by double clicking your shovel. And I'm going to explain this because a lot of people have a hard time understanding how to flatten things. In a tile, there's 4 different corners. You may notice that. Take a look at this tile, for example. We'll go to kind of an unsteady one. Right here is good. For this tile, there's going to be some borders around it. And it's going to represent what's needed to be done to get this tile flat. For example, this side is flat. This side here is 14 slope down. So we would have to either go 14 slope up to make this flat. An example given is, let me go ahead, stand on this side and hit dig. So in order for me to get this to a flat tile, it has to hit 0. So it's telling me go down 13 slopes in order to make this side flat. And I could do that by digging. And when I do that, it's going to put dirt in my inventory. This side says 2 down. So if I go right over here on this corner while I'm still in the tile and hit dig, I dug once, I dug twice, and now that side is flat. Same thing here. Once you get all 4 corners of a tile flat, all 4 borders, the middle of the tile will become flat. And once it's flat, you could then plant a house with a mallet or a hammer. And you could double click a hammer or mallet, and you can right click and hit plan building. But that's for a later date. So objectives: make an anvil, make yourself a large cart so you can pull more weight around, and then eventually work on flattening some land and make yourself a house. And start trading with other players. And that's the game of Wurm Unlimited. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the very bare basic tutorial, you guys and gals, and I hope it helps you along the way. You guys take care.